Remy Ma is in the medical facility, and no, it wasn't stress, a vehicle accident, or a medical emergency. Claressa Shields was the one, indeed. It has been stated that the two-time Olympic champion snapped, transforming Remy Ma's face into a UFC highlight reel. It's all due to one name, Papoose. So how did we go from tweets that were passive-aggressive to a stretcher outside a birthday party, bloody fingernails, and torn lace fronts? What took place inside that opulent location before security was too afraid to step in? More significantly, why is Papoose, Remy's spouse of more than 10 years, supposedly telling others that she deserves it? This wasn't a fight. Based on leaked video, unnamed witnesses, and a few shattered champagne flutes, it was a well-planned beating. Remy Ma might have escaped from jail brawls. She wasn't prepared for Claressa's hands, but she was prepared to fight rap politics. The worst part is that this time, the internet isn't supporting Remy. They're reposting the video with messages such as, "That's for everything she did to Papoose." Is this the most public karma comeback in hip-hop history? Or is it a case of envy or retaliation? You're aware already. This is Remy Ma in the hospital following an attack by Claressa. According to Papoose, she was abandoned and without security on set. It's messier than a hip-hop and love reunion. Let's begin. Let's not pretend that this happened suddenly. It wasn't just two women wearing acrylics and heels swinging at each other at random. No, this had been developing for years. And that it all culminated in front of 3 television crews, dozens of partygoers, and a suspiciously quiet Papoose, yes? That's what caused the internet to go into a complete collapse. Let's go back a bit first, though. Claressa Shields and Remy Ma have never really been breakfast best friends. Yes, they have feigned a kind demeanor at public gatherings, grinning with teeth as sharp as diamonds. But there was a battle behind those pierced smiles and fancy eyewear, and the explanation is simple. Papoose, you're aware already. Remy had to ride or die with Papoose, the man she married while incarcerated. The man who reared their children turned black love into a brand and safeguarded her reputation. Then everything changed when Remy began making headlines for the wrong reasons. It was the first crack. Seen at a bet event without her ring. Several hazy pictures of her backstage with an unidentified man. And who took center stage when the Remy-Papoose dynamic collapsed? And the now famous voicemail that was leaked in which she wailed, "I didn't mean to hurt him. It just happened, Claressa." People initially thought she was just a buddy who was there to assist Papoose through a tough moment. However, Claressa then appeared at Papoose's battle events 3 times in a row, constantly in the front row, always dressed in barely family-appropriate attire. Then came the breadcrumbs from social media. A flame emoji here, a comment there. Fans were starting to become suspicious when Papoose posted a photo of himself with his daughter and Claressa responded, "Family first. Not cute, not uncle vibes, just energy." As blogs began to circulate, Remy fell silent until a report broke her silence. Because chaos broke out in downtown Atlanta on a random Thursday night. According to sources, it was an intimate, invite-only, private rooftop party with a black tie dress requirement, champagne flowing, and everyone acting as though they weren't actually witnessing the drama play out. Papoose entered by himself. Remy Ma was half an hour late. Claressa was there, beaming, as if she had already won. Witnesses claim that as soon as Remy walked into the room, the atmosphere became chilly. She entered as if she owned the evening. One visitor who requested anonymity, Claressa, however, did not recoil. She simply grinned after locking eyes. The spark was that smile. They avoided one another for the first hour. Claressa remained on one side while Remy remained on the other. However, you could sense the tightness in your gums. Then it took place. It's unclear who said what first, but based on audio that was obtained from someone filming behind Durf's table or behind the table, Remy's voice can be heard shouting, "Say it to my face if you're bold enough to steal what I built." Claressa immediately shot back, "You didn't build anything. You just lost what you never appreciated." Bang. Take off your gloves. One way to characterize what transpired next is his reality TV gone real. The glass broke, security stopped. With his arms crossed as if observing karma perform a cartwheel, Papoose simply stood there. According to several witnesses, Claressa took the first blow, and it was successful. Remy Ma was knocked directly into a champagne tower by a full-on boxer's jab to the jaw, not a slap or a shove. One visitor wrote that the entire swan fell on her when she struck the ice sculpture. Remy wasn't finished, though. Sis attempted to charge back, heels off, hair somewhat crooked, shouting, "Don't ever touch me again," as she reached for anything, even though she was dizzy and battered. Most likely a clutch bag, but it had a weapon-like appearance. Security finally intervened at that point. It's much too late. However, it was sufficient to prevent Claressa from using another one that may have resulted in Remy losing teeth. Immediately, paramedics were called. You know who made sure to remain out of the picture the whole time? Papoose. he watched. It all happened like a man who had long since checked out, leaning against a wall and sipping his drink without flinching, defending, or interfering. With a fractured wrist, a swollen lip, and what the physicians described as minor trauma, Remy was brought to the emergency room. Twitter, however, gave it a different name. Karma on the spot with a left hook. 3 separate viewpoints of the footage surfaced within hours. The altercation took place on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. The icing on the cake was a viral tweet featuring Papoose's purported response, "She deserved it." The comment hasn't been verified, but it hasn't been refuted either. Shorts, Facebook anti-pages, and captions like "She had it coming." Furthermore, that silence speaks louder than any diss track in the realm of celebrity controversy. The internet is now in disarray, set up as yelling from Team Remy. She is referred to as a people's champion by Team Claressa. We're getting popcorn. The rest of us, however, this is only the beginning, as we will be dissecting the exclusive reports, celebrity responses, and Remy's team's attempts and failures to change the narrative in part 2. Oh, and listen to what Claressa reportedly said to responders while Remy lay bleeding on the ground. It's messier than anyone thought. The internet is celebrating Remy's visit to there like it's a national holiday, despite the fact that her wrist is in a brace and her wig is barely hanging on. Don't get it wrong, though. It was more than just a brawl. It was a declaration because, according to a witness, Claressa gave Remy a direct look and told her, "Next time, don't play with someone who fights for real." She then turned around, repositioned her earrings, and posed for photographs with fans outside the theater before Remy was placed into the ambulance. Selfies indeed. Wait until you hear what occurred next, though, if you thought that was barbaric. Because, like it was a PR fire drill, Remy's crew sprang into damage control mode right away. 3 hours later, they issued a flimsy statement following the event. As Remy Ma recovers from a private incident that unexpectedly escalated, she thanks everyone for their support and requests privacy. Sis was unexpectedly punched through an ice sculpture in front of half the hip-hop scene and to DJs. What specifically were you expecting? With a flurry of encouragement, let's discuss that, because the public wasn't believing it. Even as Remy's crew frantically tried to pretend to be sympathetic, in less than a day, the hashtag Remy got rocked received 6 million impressions, remix, edits, slow-motion punches set to R&B from the 1990s, and side-by-side breakdowns were all over TikTok like a freaking boxing match on ESPN. One maker included a caption to their widely shared video. In the meanwhile, Claressa Shields stated, "Protect black love and the whole woman, quiet as a ninja, Claressa." There is only one Instagram story showing her drinking tea with the timestamp 3001A. Not a tweet or a caption. Fans went crazy at the precise moment Remy was being sutured up in the emergency room. But, Papoose, let's not overlook the true plot twist, because he was seen leaving the party arm in arm with Claressa, appearing unconcerned, while his ex-wife lay in a hospital bed, wounded and bandaged. Yes, you read correctly. A blurry video from a parking lot camera showed Papoose unlocking Claressa's passenger door and then giving her an embrace. That was far too long to be amicable. The fans went crazy right away, and while Remy was on life support, bro held the door for Claressa. "Black love is dead and buried," he declared, and he's going on to win an Olympic gold medal. But hold on, it gets even more complicated, because during the public events, a screenshot of a group chat was leaked by someone posing as one of Remy's former helpers. The assistant claims Remy was cautioned in it months ago. Claressa begged her to stop treating Papoose disrespectfully behind the scenes. She believed she was invincible. Now, the source claims that weeks prior, Claressa had confronted Remy and warned her to stop using Papoose's allegiance as a means of gaining attention and to stop disparaging him in secret while posing as a black love queen in public. Remy, however, paid no attention, and love wasn't the only factor here. Respect was at issue. The public turned on because of this. Her so quickly, because this wasn't simply a fight. Let's face it. The internet likes this moment because it was a public reckoning and a culmination. Speaking of the internet, check out the vicious reaction videos. A 25-minute analysis titled "Remy Ma from Rap Queen to Rundown by Claressa" was uploaded by a YouTuber. A warning story. Another TikTok developer recreated the entire fight using AI voiceovers, making it seem like a hip-hop and love duel from an anime. The influencer think pieces followed, with comments abounding with statements such as "she whined about loyalty, but caught karma in the form of a jab." That wasn't a fight. That was a lifestyle correction. You have Twitter threads with over 30 posts explaining how Remy's demise was a prime illustration of what occurs when private behavior does not align with public image. Some even retrieved previous interviews, analyzing Remy's claims of being too honest and never giving up. As it happens, she ought to have given in. Perhaps the most outrageous incident, however, occurred during a live radio show in New York, when an unidentified caller claimed to be Papoose's pal and said this. Although Papoose didn't encourage Claressa to fight her, he also didn't stop it. And you can tell he's finished that way. What Remy had been avoiding for years, he let that woman manage. Take a moment to process that. He allowed it to occur. And if that isn't the year's silent statement, I'm not sure what is. Remy's team is now reportedly thinking about filing charges. But it's tricky, according to insiders. Why? Due to the fact that some witnesses claim Remy tossed the first glass, security took too long to respond, and the surveillance footage from the event was conveniently absent. Fans are accusing it of being a setup, some are referring to it as justice. In any case, the harm has been done. These days, Remy Ma is a cautionary tale, a meme, and an impending remix. A living example of keep my man's name out of your mouth. Is Claressa Shields, and Papoose, well, he's out there sharing fitness videos and Bible quotes as if he's sinless and protein shake fueled. However, this story is far from over. The internet has now taken sides. The injured villain is Remy Ma. Claressa Shields is a heroine who hasn't lost. And Papoose, who posts statements about inner serenity while drinking smoothies guilt-free, is suddenly the most suitable philosopher in hip-hop. However, the actual fight was only getting started behind the bloodied red carpet and viral memes, because her staff took the obvious action as soon as Remy was released from the hospital. They submitted court documents. Yes, Claressa Shields was the target of a full-fledged assault lawsuit, which named her as the main perpetrator of what they described as an intentional and targeted physical attack that caused mental distress and physical pain. Furthermore, they are suing the event organizers for egregious negligence, alleging that the venue lacked proper security and failed to shield well-known visitors from known animosity. You're the girl who arrived at a rooftop gathering already using eye daggers and with glue to plot violence. You want to complain now? In any case, Claressa Squad gave us the exact violent energy response we were hoping for. Mic dropped coalface when they said, Miss Shields has no comment at this time. Her fist did the talking. But if necessary, she'll let her legal team finish the conversation. Claressa is not sleeping because of court threats, according to individuals close to her. And she has already been offered a documentary contract about the incident. Yes, you read correctly. A working title for a documentary, The Night Loyalty, retaliated when queens were attacked. TBD for the streaming platform. However, Twitter claims the Zeus network has already placed a bid. Remy's PR team worked feverishly to revive her reputation, while her legal team prepared court filings. They arranged picture shoots, scheduled interviews, and even attempted to release a motivational video of her journaling while in the hospital. Unfortunately, fans didn't buy it. It resembled a public execution in the comment area. You couldn't stop touching other guys, yet you wrote black love forever in your journal. Your decision is the only thing that needs to be healed, sis. And just when it seemed that Remy Ma's situation couldn't get any worse, it did. Because this whole controversy was turned upside down when a leaked screenshot appeared online. Remy Ma allegedly texted a buddy privately a few hours after the altercation, with the intention of remaining in the grave forever. However, it was made public by the internet and one petty former employee. It was never about Papoose, it was about making her snap, according to the message, and she did. Hold on, you're telling us that Remy started the altercation? Firecracker? She was certain that Claressa would fall for it. She intentionally caught hands, made the commotion, and entered through the shade light. The streets are now saying that, and a huge wave of reevaluation has resulted from it. Hold on. Thus, Remy attempted to entice Claressa to strike her. Was this an attempt to elicit sympathy? She sought to take back a story by making Claressa the one who attacked. But that didn't work out. The following morning, even Papoose, who had been eerily silent during the lawsuits, posted a quote. A liar always weaves their own news. No captions, no tags, just smoke. The criticism has now formally escalated to the corporate level. Remy's former partners have begun to quietly withdraw. She was fired as a brand ambassador by a beauty company. Her planned reality TV revival was cancelled, and a podcast arrangement was put on indefinite hold, according to insiders. Networks are worried about Remy's current reputation as erratic, temperamental, and untrustworthy. Claressa's fan base has increased in the meanwhile. She is referred to as a woman who punched truth into the timeline on fan pages. Overnight, a mural in Detroit emerged with the last twist, though, is her face and a statement. She hit harder than karma, the one nobody anticipated. Guess what Remy did in the midst of all the commotion, the threats of legal action, and the interview she had planned? She personally attended Papoose's subsequent event. Remy, unguarded, obviously bruised, and publicly humiliated, walked right into the location, where Pap was holding a community function without any cameras, a public relations team, or a wig. What did he do? He caught sight of her. He gazed, then he turned to leave like she was a stranger at a play. He simply strolled past her without saying anything, acknowledging her, or blinking. According to witnesses, Remy remained motionless for a full minute before walking away silently. Fans realized it was over at that point. She attempted to restore the entire heritage, not just the marriage and image, because Remy Ma couldn't handle a lady with a left hook and a grudge, even though she might have survived prison, beef, and hip-hop politics. And Papoose did something no one ever thought he would do. He gave her space to deal with it. Was Remy Ma responsible for her own demise? Did Claressa simply do what no one else dared to do? Will Papoose ever allow her to return? Or has the king of Black Love stepped down from his position? This was more than simply a battle. That much is certain. A public reckoning was held. And regardless of your stance, you must acknowledge that this is the clumsiest plot twist of the year. We must now ask, is this the conclusion of Remy Ma's reign? Or is this the start of a completely new decline that we weren't prepared for? Now that the wounds are healed, the lawsuits are flying, and Papoose has emotionally packed his bags and dipped because, let's face it, this wasn't simply a fight. There were bloody luxury events and covert shade. It was a karma collision on television. Claressa wasn't simply a punching bag either. Her reminders were thrown. Remy used loyalty to play games, and loyalty retaliated by taking off his gloves. However, what are your thoughts? Was Remy always planning the altercation to gain sympathy? Is Claressa a hero in a hoodie or a villain now? And Papoose, was peace ultimately more important to him than performance? This isn't a black and white situation. So share your thoughts in the comments section. It's blurry, battered, and making the rounds. Don't go to sleep, because we have additional leaked footage from inside sources and reactions from celebrities. Hit that like, crush that subscribe, and ring that bell like it's Claressa's left hook if you're a sucker for betrayal, audacity, and fights captured on tape.